Hi. I do hope everybody knows what pwned means. So it comes from, I think, from the gaming side, but also from the hacking side. So this presentation is kind of my actual workshop is kind of follow-up to what I did on Helsinki WordPress meetup, I think half a year ago or something like that. When I was just talking how the sites are getting pwned, and I was thinking that, and there were questions after that, so what to do about that? And I said, okay, yeah, let's think what to do about that. So part of the story, what I'm going to tell at the beginning, will be related to what I was kind of like repeating some slides what I did back then. So who was there? I know this. You were no. Okay, couple of people were. Okay. But this time I'm hoping I can show you a way how to do it yourself. So first thing is that wow, seems it works. Wow, I almost broke it. Like always when I'm going to do live workshops, I'm always trying to kind of like make something better and better and better, and then I break it. When you're going to those with laptop, you can go to the address tehnogreit.net. I hope to have it on a nicer address like hack.de, but this creation part didn't work. Your sites will be working. So if you go at tehnogreit.net/hack and hack with number 4, if you see, you should be seeing kind of like something which is called WordPress launcher. And yeah, okay, that's first one. So did you get it?
Hold on.
Sorry, what's the address? Tehnogreit. Okay, I'll kind of like put it on a something bigger. I made a last minute change, and this kind of like should be like that. Tehnogreit is in Estonian, so not a technocrat like you might be thinking. Did it work? Did you get some kind of like green page?
Enter workshop password.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Now the workshop password is nothing to hack.
Nothing.
But on the top there, nothing to hack. When you get there, when you enter it, you should be getting a page. I have here already one which I have created a site, but you should have just a button of creating your own WordPress instance. Try if you can get it running, and then I'll start talking on the actual content. So let's see kind of like if this part works. It will start kind of like waiting, like it's creating and creating and creating, and you should be getting at the end a host name, like I have here measured skunk. All of them will be kind of like 2-part animal names, so funny animals. I hope there is nothing offensive there because it's automatically generating. So an IP address. Do not click immediately on the host name, because it may be depending on the Wi-Fi not yet gotten to there. Wait for like 5 or 10 seconds, and then you should be able to actually get to the your site. Let's see if it works. Yeah, mine works, so it should be also working for you. So you're getting very nice WordPress. So if anybody who is going to follow that has problems, let me immediately know. Wave hands, so it seems like it doesn't work. Very good. Everything okay? Cool. Okay, super. Then let's move to actually the part of story, and we will be using possibilities to investigate the thing in the meanwhile. Also, when you got this animal name website, there is a link to GitHub, which is the following notes for going on with the workshop later. The previous presentation, who was listening in the main call, ended with, I think, the question about, or one of the last questions was about using security plugins. And the presenter told that kind of like he doesn't usually use them because they kind of like tend to be bloatware. And that's actually what I'm also thinking. but we do need to protect our websites. So how to do that? And I have been thinking, because I was working in a software development house named Vaimo, but not kind of like for Finnish wife sense, but in the sense of Sami word, which means heart. A Swedish company, actually. Interestingly, Vaimo is a Swedish company. Anyway, I was working in security department, and I was trying to teach our people how to actually make code secure and how to deal with security. So I started working and explaining them things using what's called attack tree. Or like when we are kind of like solving problems, we are asking like 5 whys to get to the core of the problem. And in this case, we are asking 5 or 10 hows. And we start with some kind of a thing we want to do. We want to get access to a web server. We are the bad guys, let's imagine. We are the ones attacking your site because you hopefully have already access to your website. So this is our ultimate target. We need to own that. We need to have our code running there, see everything on the server. So, okay, running our code on server. It's called remote code execution. So, it's a particular way of compromising website. So we now somehow need to get our code there. How can we do that? Well, we could, for example, upload a malicious theme or plugin, or perhaps edit existing one. Good idea. How can we do that? What do we need for that? We probably need to log in as admin, because otherwise you can't upload plugins very easily. I'm just showing kind of like an example from a log from some years ago, where actual attacker is arriving at 1914-03, logging in, and like 4 seconds later they are on the plugin install page. 2 more seconds they are uploading the plugin with post here, and like 10 more seconds they are already accessing their uploaded plugin, and basically that's it. They have a remote code execution on the site. But what do you need for that? You probably need to somehow log in as admin user. Like one example here is using kind of like some kind of like your hosting's database, PHP admin or whatever is there, to change admin's password. Or maybe you just had a very weak password. Or maybe your password was leaked because kind of like you have been everywhere using the same password with your email, which is very bad habit. Just I don't want to go long into the topic of passwords, but use like it's everything you have been told about passwords is wrong. Because I know that people have been taught that passwords need to be long, which is okay, and contain kind of like capital letters, small letters, numbers, special marks, and so on. That's bullshit. Why? Because if you are actually using password manager, then yeah, create long random passwords, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the most common mistake people are making is using the same password in multiple places. When you are reading the news about whatever, I think latest one was like 16 billion lines of user emails and passwords. That's exactly what people are collecting on the black site. And they are attempting. So they are knowing that my website there, for example, is tehnogret.net, where you got this your sites. They know my address is pets@tehnogret.net. So they are attempting to use this email with the same domain and with password that they found from some leaks. How did it leak? Well, I was using some kind of like throwaway password on the stupid sites that asked for login and that didn't need, and that got leaked. So that is kind of like things. So please, when you are dealing with website administration, do use password manager. My personal favorite is 1Password. I'm not kind of like their salesman, but I just like their usability and kind of like it makes me happy using them. So that's more important thing. Another place where people are getting passwords is Stealer logs. Stealer is kind of like a software which comes when you are installing something. Very often it's kids installing some kind of like Roblox add-ons, and or maybe downloading some pirated software, whatever kind of strange things. And they are doing very quick work on your computer, exfiltrating all of your Chrome saved password, Opera passwords, Firefox passwords, and whatever, browser password managers, your password text from the desktop, or password.xls if you are like more of the accounting side. And these are going immediately to sales. And this is exactly how people are taking over these systems. So they are collecting these things. I think I do have here another presentation also open, which I can show for a moment. This is a picture from a Telegram channel of some kiddies who are running DDoS service. At last year in middle of December, one of their okay, you can take pictures. Sorry, passwords are covered. So I was sorry, because one version of that doesn't have passwords covered. That would be a problem. But okay, yeah, this one you can take picture. And there was a password like username, password, and URL list shared. So how people are getting these kind of things? This is exactly from these stealer logs. And I'm seeing very often when I'm looking at some kind of web-related issue or like a data breach, that what has been breached has been web developers or system administrators' computer. I see there also that the same computer has been used for Roblox and kind of like in Estonian case, school kind of like e-school system. So kids have been on the same computers with their parents. Parents have logged into their work projects. Kids have launched something with the stealer, and kind of like everything has gone. One of the largest Estonian data breaches was exactly. I was seeing from stealer logs that there have been multiple accounts breached because developer run something on their computer. So it's kind of like a bit sidestep from the main talk, but without telling that, kind of like the rest of the thing is not very important, because if people can get into your accounts, then whatever we are doing on the WordPress side is completely meaningless. There was a long story about me. I'm currently actually working on the side of law enforcement. So actually, I am catching the bad guys. So I do kind of like know that this is exactly how they are working. It's just not kind of like a gossip thing. Anyway, here's a kind of like this funky story about how they're using one site to change the the password of kind of like password hash of another user using database administrator tool. Anyway, using compromised host on the same server, and they start by getting some database credentials from WordPress configuration file. Now, nice story. How could they actually get the database credentials from your VP config? Any ideas?
Simplest way to have FTP.
Yes, if your FTP has compromised, but there are easier ways. Let's say we are starting with 0 things compromised, and we are getting to 100 very fast. If you're looking at the log files of your web server, you're going to see that there is constant pressure from the side of internet. They're doing different things. One thing is called dir busting, like directory busting, when they are just looking for common file names. And VP config, kind of like if you try to access it, it is closed, so it doesn't show content. But let's see. I know sometimes when I'm managing my websites, I do changes to to my files, and to be absolutely sure I can revert back quickly because maybe it's a live site. I make a backup copy of config file or something like that. So could we get maybe something like vp config config.php. This doesn't work. Blocks very nicely. php.back, because I have this site behind Cloudflare. I've made my work much more difficult here. But let's say maybe they have just used the file name .old, which is kind of like pretty common habit. So now we do actually have the passwords for this site's database. Password is also very easy. So we should have not kind of like, we should have read just the manual, so the password was written there. Anyway, we see that the database user is hack.vp, and there is nothing to hack. But we were running this Deerbuster, which we're not going to do currently, and we found that people are installing this PHP MyAdmin on their websites, or there is a way to kind of like use that through the hosting provider's control panel. And we are going to, what it was, PHP MyAdmin. Let's see if we have it. Wow, here we have it. And now the user was, what was it, hackvp. As you see, whoever wants can kind of like try it on their own instance of WordPress. Please, not on the one which I'm using here. Oops. Okay. So now we are in this site's WordPress, like I showed in the demo and the directory described. Here is now the. I don't care why there are errors. I'm a hacker. I kind of like, who cares? The owner of this host made bad things, not me. I'm currently in a hacker role, not the guy who made this actually. Anyway, here I'm seeing the admin's user pass, and I can go to create WordPress user password hash, and so basically I need to copy that and put there, and then I can log in with test.test. This is not theoretical thing. This is what we have been seeing in life, because I was working actually for Zone for 6 years. Also developed a lot of their kind of like website cleaning and security procedures. So yeah, that was what I was seeing. So people used kind of like logins from other sites to compromise another site having that. What else would we do if perhaps we are not as successful? Another thing they are usually looking for is maybe you have made a backup of the database. Yes, they have. So now I don't need to have actually the access to the database, but I can get the database backup, and I can take the password, and I can use the password cracker, hash cracker, to kind of like guess the password. If the password is very long, it's probably secure. If it's like a very common kind of like Finnish English words people are usually using for passwords, even something that is very kind of cute or very rude. So there are special dictionaries for these things. So we can kind of like guess how to get in from that. So technically, we can now say that we are in this website because we have found a way to get to the password. So now that we have the password, which but the password is very kind of like the user is hack and the password is the same, nothing to hack. So we can go into the website and kind of like see what could the bad guy do. And let's go you can log into your own site with VP admin. The user is hack and nothing to hack. if the password doesn't work, then it's kind of like me making the stupid choice of password. The site is hack with number 4 and the password is with A, and I've already done today rehearsing like 10 times, entered it wrong way. So I'll fix it for next time. Next time pick a better password. Anyway, we are here, and as we saw, the user. Like the hacker on my presentation side, what they did was they went into the theme editor, or what is the plugin? They used the uploading plugin. I made this demo a bit differently, so I used that theme 2020 to upload or edit the 404 template, 404 PHP template, and put into here something called web shell. This is very famous web shell, WSO web shell. I must say that for this demonstration, I just took it from random website, which usually is not a good idea because they often have also backdoors. But in our case, if any of the sites take it over during this 1 hour, it's really kind of like just more fun. So I'm trashing these sites anyway. If somebody wants to test these sites, kind of like play the scenario later, then email me or find me on LinkedIn and contact or something like that. I can make it temporarily more available, or see it if I can transfer or make a copy of the DigitalOcean image, so you can kind of like launch it easily yourself and play on. And but I do have here a couple of more tricks. We currently knew how the bad guy got in because we kind of like played the scenarios through. Let's imagine now that you come to work on today, 10th of October, and there is alert from your hosting provider that your website has been taken over and is sending out spam messages or whatever, hosting phishing pages or whatever. They have kind of like blocked that, but you have a password so you can kind of like access that. Now the problem, how the guys are actually compromising your website, WordPress site, is the moment they get in, they are not putting only this one 404 PHP or whatever was their initial access point. They are going to add also not a ton, but maybe I think 10 or something like that, additional backdoors, which are different and which are usually also located in different places of website. They are put inside the plugins, inside the WordPress core code, on the uploads, in different places. They do usually have very good scripts for kind of like managing these. So if you take some of these off, there will be somewhere a dashboard where red light is going to like don't go on, or maybe there is kind of like some Russian language swearing or something like that from the speakers. So they come back and reinfect the places that were taken away, kind of like. And usually, when you attempt to kick somebody out, then they know that you are now in the active phase of defense, or kind of like kicking them out. So, what are the bad guys going to do when you're going to kick them out? They're probably kind of like holding to everything, kind of like making them immovable. This means that we must be sure that whenever we are going to deal with cleaning a website, it needs to be fast and absolute. So there is no thing that website is a bit infected, like you can't be a bit cannibal. You are cannibal or you're not cannibal. There is no kind of like middle ground. I usually like gray tones in the world, not exactly 50, but kind of like this question is black and white. Your site is compromised or not. There is no middle ground. And how do you find the files which are inside all of the folders? Well, you can go in with an FTP and start looking, for example, at the dates of the files. Right? Does it work? It takes time, but does it work at all? You're going to find inside whatever VP includes a directory, a long list of files, which are all kind of like exactly timed by alphabetically. The time is going up, like you have been uploading all of the WordPress via the FTP or something like that. So everything looks logical. Why? Because changing the date of the file on the computer system, which is by the hackers called time stomping, like time stamping, time stomping, like on time, is a standard operating procedure for them. They do change always the 5 times when they are doing something. So, no, you're not going to find that way. But there is one fancy thing in Linux-based operating systems, which is called inode. And the information which is kind of like elementary file allocation unit or something like that. And the time of modification of that is written using the system's rights, like the root user, super user's right. Users can't change them. Even the root user can't change actually the kind of like this seed time of the file. You can use, when you are using kind of like command shell, you can go in and use things like stat to actually see these seed times. But I think it would be kind of like too scientific and too hackery for most of you. So, for the pleasure of the audience, I've created a new utility. I did create it like, I don't know, 6 years ago, or 8 years. And it's called seedtimer.php. So, if you take your site and you add to the path seedtimer, like creation timer or whatever, .php, you are not going to see anything. Why? Because it will be listing all of the files in your system, and that would be a security issue if you forget it there. I have worked in hosting, and the number of my colleagues who tended to forget it there was notable. So, what I did with that is that on the first run, if its name is seedtimer.php, it renames it into a random name, and then you can click on that. If you come back next day, try to open it, it sees that it has been on the server for more than 24 hours and it auto deletes itself. You need to kind of like get it yourself. If you want to test it on your own sites, then there is a link in this my repository that I shared, the WordPress GitHub repository, where you can download it and use it, just kind of like use FTP to put it into your website or whatever. Anyway, and I created it because I was observing my colleagues attempting to clean up hacked websites. And at some point I understood that, okay, there is this seed time, which kind of like shows the actual time the hacker put their backdoors there. That kind of like this catalog tree on WordPress is huge. So let's use computers. What if we are not listing all of the directory tree contents by where they are located, but we are grouping the files by their seed time? And that's exactly what we are seeing here. So if you put seed timer on whatever WordPress site, you're probably going to see that, okay, now here is large number of files. This was probably when this WordPress was first installed or copied from another site. Here's 2 days ago, here's 188 files changed. It does look like an absolutely normal WordPress update. When you have kind of like live site, because I'm using kind of like just a archive container to create new sites, so I don't have daily updates, but usually you are going to see also daily updates. Here on top you are going to see when I was today morning still doing kind of like some changes. You are seeing that there are actually also files from my past playings with this site that are interesting. And here is actually the part which I added into the site to simulate exactly logging in as admin and modifying the 404 PHP. So, fancy thing. can we actually see how hackers are looking at our server, our site? Well, we can see, this one is also cool, but we are going to look at and that is exactly how we worked and still are working. My colleagues are working in Zone. Is that if there is a need to clean up a site, they take ctimer, they go and look at the block which looks like the hackers have been in. Usually the pattern is much different than updating of kind of like normal WordPress or kind of like admin kind of like doing some kind of changes. And they're seeing that, okay, in this block there has been something. 903 has been actually kind of like the earliest change, and it has been this 404 PHP. We can already think what might be the way how they got in. And then we are seeing that they have been putting into different places some other files. I didn't bother this time enough to kind of like hide them very deep, but we're also seeing that there has been added some kind of like strange name plugin, which actually does not show up in the plugins list, but it is in the plugins directory. So we can now go and see how the hackers are going to see our website. So copy this VP content themes 404 PHP, and instead of ctimer, add that here. Does anybody need kind of like help? If anybody feels lost or something, please make sound. Also, if you have questions or want to object to these methodologies, whatever. So you should come to a very nice website. It's your own website. It was your website. It's now somebody else's website. They are going to make money with that. By the way, do you know what is the price? Those who were on my previous presentation don't answer. What is the price of a WordPress admin login? Correct answer, it depends. If you are just going to buy 5 or 10, it will be like $2.50. If you're going to buy 500, it will be 50 cents. The most offensive thing with that is Joomla admin is prices are starting from $2.50. So why the heck are Joomla admins so expensive? Maybe they are kind of like rare because nobody's kind of like using them anymore, and there is some reason. Why might be Joomla admin very valuable? Maybe these sites are so old. So kind of like the domains probably have a lot of reputation and kind of like they can be used for SEO scams or whatever. Anyway, login. The password is the same. I helped the hacker a bit, so it is nothing to hack and with A. And it does, for whatever reason, think like 10 or 20 seconds. It is possible it's compromising my server currently, or sending the data already to somewhere in, I don't know, Mongolia or Russia, most probably. So, but it should come up with very nice Norton Commander-ish interface. I really don't know what it's doing. It's kind of like bothering me, but I didn't have today enough time to find out what it's doing. And kind of like using whatever I got off the internet was part of the thrill of this workshop.
While we are waiting, can I ask?
Sure.
How about because when I have websites for my clients or for myself, they are always there's always a different server name than the actual website name. Where do they get to know on what server is that they configure?
If the name of the server is different, there is usually, for example, how is that server name different to how do you mean? Like there is some kind of like something production of Seravo or something like that, or
for example, in like Hostan, it's Hostan and some numbers, and it differs on what server it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe they are advanced.
that I haven't seen, but basically kind of like what I'm doing in these cases when I have been, for example, I've been mapping Estonian and Finnish hosting space. So I take a bunch of .fi websites, I find their IP addresses, I find the hostings, and then I find the other IP addresses nearby. For each IP address, I find which sites are hosted there. So I kind of like, it's called pivoting. And I think kind of like the answer is also just kind of like pivot more times, or pivot, if you are more French, I think. Anyway, so now we are very nice that we can also make this a bit larger. So we are in my system, you are in your system. You're seeing the top there, you're currently in the folder of 2020 theme that I used for this demonstration. And we can go to, for example, let's click on www. What we are seeing? We are seeing this because this is a website. I know when I was working in hosting, everybody was wanting to host multiple sites on the same account. What is in a shared hosting, same account? This is a Linux account, everything is the same rights. So like you can log in with FTP and see all of your websites. So can hackers. They just logged in and they are seeing not only the main site, which was here under the HTML. Seems there is also another secret site here on this site where you can kind of like go and see what's in the hint. This website is actually, it actually has something which has been 0 day for, I don't know, past 10 years or something like that. Because I tried to report two vulnerabilities in one social login plugin in WordPress, and it was never fixed. What happened at the end was that the plugin was taken down from WordPress plugin repository. So there is even no hope that it gets updated. So everybody who has ever installed one of the plugins that this site has is vulnerable. That it is a known vulnerability with a CVE number and so on. Anyway, now we are kind of like here, and we are able to kind of like look around a bit and see what the hackers have been doing. We're seeing, okay, there is the backup SQL. There is also file i.php. It is pretty often people are having files which contain PHP info. So I'll add another tab. If there is PHP info file, then I can very nicely see your setup internal. In some cases, I'm also seeing your database credentials or other things from these things. So not a good thing to keep on server. But okay, that's not our main issue today. We are seeing also here some other files. Like there is a name called Bob, a file named Bob. And this looks, I would say, rather bizarre. So this is called obfuscated malware, obfuscated web shell. So the one which we uploaded, or bad guys uploaded at 404 PHP, looked like a PHP program. This one looks like some kind of like more or less garbage, which is in a way findable if you're looking for code where it's base 6040 code or eval, you can find them. So this is still very likely obfuscating code. They are developing their methods, and I think one of the fanciest things I saw was the code where all of the variable names and class names were changed to German city names. Because if there is some kind of a pattern in variable name, I can use some tools to find this kind of like backdoors in the system. But if it is just German city names, then not big cities like Berlin, kind of like small, whatever, villages, then how do you write a rule that is looking from all of your WordPress installation for German city names? And maybe next month it's Dutch and whatever. I think AI is probably giving a lot of new options in this way of obfuscation. Not that they didn't do that before, Also, what I have seen is that instead of hiding the code like that, they're hiding the code in, let's say, plain sight. They're making a file that contains functions that are like from WPML or kind of like some WordPress plugins. So you can't even look for function names because these are legitimate plugins as well. So the obfuscation methods are plenty, and when you want, you can just look around here and see these strange files and see how different kind of like obfuscation techniques might look. So if you are looking for code, oh, this seems to be okay. This looks kind of like even not very malicious, but I'm pretty sure it is malicious because here's another one. Okay, this is kind of like this style. And here's one more VSO shell, which looks exactly like the one we kind of like uploaded ourselves. So, okay, we have seen now some files. Thanks to ctimer, we actually also know which files have been modified, and now we can basically come in and one by one delete them. There is a faster way, I'll show you in a moment. But before that, we need to, like, we have the hypothesis that they got in through admin and then uploaded that. We might want to know where we correct with that. And how are we doing that? For that, we are using, of course, what? Ice cream? Beer ice cream? Log files. Because log files are actually web developers' best friend. If you haven't made kind of like friends with log files, then perhaps you should. Let's go to top of the var folder in Linux. And there is a subfolder log, very nicely named. And here is something which is called Apache 2. And we can look at access log. And seems that, and it's 601, so it's probably kind of like, I think the hack was done around that time. So we are seeing the PHP admin use. We are seeing the where it is VP admin. There is user is going to VP admin. They are doing login, post to login, getting in, moving to themes. They are posting in. There should be somewhere kind of like a theme editor. So they are editing the theme, saving the content, I think, in one of these places, and then they are accessing the 2020 404 PHP to go on with their attack. So now they got in. We probably, let's say it was a e-commerce site. So we had user data here. Thanks to the European Union and GDPR, we must notify Data Protection Inspectorate during how many hours? About data breach? 72, I think. Yeah, I think, 72 hours. And what do you need to actually report to Data Protection Authority about your attack? It doesn't have to be kind of like final data, but what is the main question they are asking you? They are usually starting with a question that what type of data was breached? Okay, usernames, password hashes, home addresses, very bad. And how many users? Okay, let's go see how many users we have in the WordPress table, and kind of like that's the information. And then probably they are also going to ask, maybe you are going to make a kind of like report to the police that there has been kind of like breach, and now you're going to kind of like catch the bad guys from Nigeria or whatever. And we have IP address of the attacker, which is 172.69.136.180. what does this IP address tell you? You can go into a site like ipinfo.io and paste it here and look it up. Turns out it's a Cloudflare IP. We were very clever. We put our website behind Cloudflare. And now everything we know about the attackers is that they have been coming through Cloudflare. We have kind of like absolutely no leads to go on with that. So, if you're doing things like putting things behind Cloudflare or whatever kind of like these front services that were described in earlier presentations, then you must make sure that your website logs correctly the information about the IPs, which are like the IPs that have been coming through the Cloudflare, or which have been kind of like the actual user IPs. It depends a bit on the system, but if you are seeing in your log files IP addresses that indicate that they are from Cloudflare, then talk to your hosting provider or sysadmin, or if it's kind of like your own VPS, then look into the mirror and talk to yourself. So we have now found that the site has been compromised this way, and now the question is, what are the next things? How do we clean it? As I said, first thing is like, okay, we have enumerated all of the files. We must make sure we are deleting them all at once. But before I'm going to do anything with a site of crime, so when you are kind of like looking at any kind of like these night criminal series, there's always a problem that somebody has already ruined the crime scene by trampling around or kind of like whatever. And the first thing, and I'm switching my my site now to, where was it? So I'm doing something which, if those of you who are happy using command line, you can follow, but this part is kind of like I'm showing you some more advanced things. If you're not happy with SSH, just watch how kind of like it can be done, and then next time tell your admin to do that. So I'm using Secure Shell to log into the system. I have my keys there, but if you don't, so the password, root password is the same, nothing to hack, which is absolute the thing I'm not suggesting anybody to do, but this is kind of like a box for doing stupid things. And so I have examples for being very stupid, like doing everything as root and so on. So anyway, I'm in the system, and I had it where warw HTML was my site. Yeah. So every time when I'm going to, because I need to get the site up, client is waiting, site has been hacked, we need to, before we have time to do proper forensics, we need to get it up. So what I'm doing is I'm always doing something like that. So here's, for demonstration purposes, even the copy command is very simple. So I'm making a copy of the site. I'm making the original site which was hacked will be HTML dirty, and the new site which I'm going to work and which is live is the one in HTML. So I switched some kind of like juggling with two folders. And because if you like, you thought you saw everything from the seed timer. Maybe you were doing that for the first time. Maybe you didn't see everything. So let's go on. Now, one of the most powerful things, if you're actually doing a lot of working with WordPress, is something called VPCLI. So on the server side, you can give commands and see things like, for example, was it user? I'm always forgetting. Yeah, so for example, I can list all of the users. I can do very easily database backups and so on, kind of like everything like that, which you're probably going to clicking through some kind of control panel is done here. And as I was working and we had like, I don't know, 50,000 or something clients in Zone, I understood that one day that I'm reusing the commands. So I decided to make my own tool, which is called cleanup, like VPCLI, and cleanup, kind of like very bad Danish joke, by the way. That is I tried. And which has ton of commands for doing things which you usually need when you are cleaning up the system. And I'm approaching the thing of cleaning from different sides. When I was telling you that you find the files and then you're going to delete them one by one. What if we kind of like use different approach? Like how they kind of like these exorcists are kind of like getting rid of the ghosts in your house. They're probably going to coming in, burning the house down, putting salt on that, and then kind of like juniper smoke or something else, and then you need to build a new house. So this is actually the only acceptable way of getting rid of the bad guys. And I was kind of like always working in a way that, okay, so now I need to, what I need to do, I need to make a list of all of the plugins that are on the site. Then I need to first try to, let's say, install maybe the same version or latest version. The WordPress also, I need to throw away all of the kind of like subfolders in the WordPress installation and put new things in, and it was kind of like a ton of manual work. And I'm a very lazy person. And I think actually kind of laziness is something which is kind of like very, laziness is a root of innovation actually. People who are not lazy usually probably don't innovate. From them is the story from, I think, Pinocchio, that in the morning in the land of, whatever it's English, so it's Lollidemal, in the land of fools or something like that, starts active kind of like shuffling around. Definitely fools are not lazy. And here is kind of like things we can do, things like reinstall, things like reinstall core or plugins or themes, which means that I'm going to use VPCLI to install back exactly the same version of plugin, because maybe the site hasn't been updated for ages. And if I'm putting the latest versions, there will be conflicts and whatever. Let's start easily. Core also can do the same. Reinstall is which is putting one. Refresh is the one which is using putting the same version. Sorry, I was taking it the other way around. Then there are very useful commands like clean up plugins and clean up themes. Why the heck did we need to have the VP 2020 theme on our site? It's kind of like 2025. I think I had also that 2017 or something like that. So, clean up files, which is looking from PHP files in uploads. This is one place to hide things, and we can't get rid of PHP files inside uploads by swapping plugins. So it's looking for everything which has .php or files which contain this greater or lesser than question PHP in them, and so on. There is also two very cool commands: reset passwords, because now that our system has been compromised, bad people have been in our house. What we are doing? We are scrubbing everything. We want to get the smell of criminals out of our bedrooms and whatever, kitchens. So, reset passwords. This means that all of the passwords are get reset to one random password, and everybody can then order them new passwords. There is also a thing which is called list sessions. Also very cool thing. I'm going to see all of different logins that the site has had. It's from database and from different places. So maybe I can find from here the hacker's IP address. Or maybe I can see from here, by the data of the login, which of the users are also actually compromised. So I can see that it was, I don't know, Pekka or Petri, whose account was compromised. It was kind of like our head system administrator, and it was his account. So basically, system administrator needs to take a couple of days off and change all of their passwords everywhere. Kind of like, because we are compromised more than this one website. This website was just a sign of compromise of our systems. But we are soon going to run out of time. It was until 25, okay. So yes, anyway, so we need to speed up. We can't run these commands all of them alone. And for that, there is a good thing, because I got kind of like bored doing these things. There is a command called cleanup safe, which does most of the things. So, as I was working, I was doing like just I was logged into the shell and cleanup safe. It does the backups, it does file backups. Maybe we haven't done. There are some error messages because this is a very old version of 2017 or whatever theme there is in use. So, and at the end of the run, it tells that I have reinstalled all of the plugins, with the exception of this one. This one you need to clean up manually. Or in this case, when we're looking into that, it turns out to be just backdoor, so we can just completely delete. Very simple. And we can now, it didn't do some things because it is possible that you have modified your theme file. If you haven't, maybe you have nicely used a child theme or something like that. Or maybe you have a kind of like backup of the theme, just so you can put the original theme or do manual cleanup if it's kind of like the only option. But now you have just your theme files which you need to clean up. But I know that it isn't case. I know I have just used WordPress and maybe, I don't know, this front-end editor. And I can just also do the reinstall for themes. So it does reinstall the 2017, and these errors are gone as well. It has done also some additional things. It has changed htaccess. Why? It has actually created default WordPress htaccess. Why? Because bad guys can actually abuse the htaccess file as well to make code behave strangely. I've seen, for example, CSS, which is running PHP, and other kinds of things they can do from there. Harden uploads. What does that mean? Let me see. I'm showing you. Because I cleaned up, I can't use the I can't use this actual the web shell anymore. I need to. It's easier for me to go in from here and see var HTML. HTML. I still know I need to remove the bobs and things manually, but I'm not going to show that. And in the uploads, we have added a file which is htaccess file, which disables running PHP code inside uploads. People should not be uploading PHP files, correct? If you have looked at most of the WordPress plugins, they also should not be using the plugins to run code. Wait, why I can't move that? I should be able to move it also here. Come on. Copy, paste. Okay, anyway, if I could move this same file inside VP content, this would mean that no file under VP content can be executed directly by putting some kind of like this 404.php. And this is kind of like the most brilliant things. Next, kind of like, it's better than sliced bread. Because a lot of things are related to accessing PHP files inside plugin folders. There is absolutely no need. Some very stupid plugins may need that. Because most of things are using the VP Ajax or VP kind of like different hooks, which is the normal way of extending WordPress. And they are kind of like using just like some nice paths or kind of like whatever, not accessing PHP files. I think I had in my time, like there was one Estonian payment method by somebody, written by somebody who wasn't very smart, who actually needed to have access there. Mostly you can completely disable that. So these are kind of like things which you can do to protect your files, and as I showed, it kind of like comes instantly with the main setup. The things you probably need to do now manually is clean up, reset passwords.
Oh.
So I do hope it works, because I've been kind of like making here funky stuff. It didn't. It did work before. It actually does work. Also, you can reset the password, like clean, destroy the session. So if there's anybody's session was active, so they can't reuse that. And kind of like in this way, we are going to get rid of them. Now, there is a number of more things that we don't have time to go over one by one, and I've added them here. There seems to be a bit too much of the bullet lists. I think I should. It's using only one level of bullet list. Okay, I'll make it nicer later. So, if you want to get the C timer, you can go here and download this file and throw it whenever you need into your web server and just kind of like use it. It will rename and delete itself automatically. As you see, when you're looking at the code, it does not show images and things that would just kind of like mess up the picture. So it has been working very well. That we covered. Cleanup is something which is this shell script. So again, this now requires using the SSH, but you can just basically download, put it into your home folder, make it executable, and use it like I did. I know Estonian freelancers who are doing website kind of like cleanups are using and basically making money thanks to that, because they are able to work like. If you're looking for numbers to show me, then numbers are here. I can look at them. I know. 10 minutes is correct. Yeah. So my problem with speaking is that I've been speaking for, I don't know. I think this is the third presentation this week. So first workshop actually. Anyway, that was cleanup. I'm very proud of that. So again, they hosted under Zone. I'm not a long time in Zone, but I'm still very proud of these things. Clean up safe and reinstall themes. And now comes the next thing, how to actually protect. And for that, when I did last time the presentation from the very first small path, I came actually to this more complex picture. So this is actually the first task where we started from the top of getting access to web server, and now it goes through these paths, and this is actually the attack path, how the attack was going through different methods that we were studying currently. And now is something which is called killchain. It comes from the military side, and it probably means kind of like doing bad things to using kinetic. What is kind of military doing? Which they are fulfilling political objectives using kinetic means or something like that. Killchain. But I'm thinking about killchain in a way that we are kind of like killing the progress of the attacker. So when we are knowing that we have these questions, that these things, how do we kill these weak password problems and leak password problems? We are killing that using multi-factor authentication and very good password hygiene. Where do you need multi-factor authentication? On your WordPress admin? No, that's maybe even not that important, although I am immediately going to show you how to do that also. Most important is your hosting account, hosting login account, kind of like this admin account, where you are hosting your domains, DNS, hosting servers. This is exactly the passwords I showed, the kind of like the DDoS guys with the pink passwords covered. We're using. These could be your passwords. And these are going to be kind of like bought by this 50 cents per piece or whatever, shared just free. So you need to absolutely think a lot of largest, I think two of the largest data breaches in Estonia. One was because SQLi injection when the user database was downloaded and password cracked. Another one was exactly this case. So, and then when comes your data protection inspectorate and tells that you haven't been kind of like following the most basic cyber hygiene, having MFA on your important accounts. Cost in this kind of like the penalty they're writing, or whatever is the correct word, was 3 million euros in this case. So think about what could cost your not having MFA. I think the kind of like the law GDPR is the same in Finland, so probably depends on your turnover. Get database from wherever, clean server. Always do go into your server and make sure there is nothing lying around. No old backups, no debug logs, no info.php or i.php with PHP info. Servers should be squeaky clean. Because me, when I'm thinking in the hacker mindset, I'm always looking around for exactly this kind of markers. I've been on a locked shield cyber exercise of NATO CCD COE in 2017. And I solved one of our exercise cases which we needed to protect because the instructor who had made this VPS had forgotten the source code of application in downloads folder. So I went there, I got the source code, I fixed it, recompiled, bingo. So I was very happy, by the way. And hackers are also very happy, so don't make them happy so easily. Then login as an admin. This can be first, let's make sure our passwords are not kind of like leaking or stolen or whatever, or too simple. Then next thing is make sure that login as admin is not too easy. As I have my site behind this free Cloudflare, I'm also using Cloudflare's possibility to very easily, I'm not going to show exactly, but know that it is very easy in Cloudflare configuration, free Cloudflare even, to configure that getting to the VP admin or VP login page requires one-time password. So when I enter here, my it sends to my email a code that I can enter, and then I can access the VP login, and it works. It's very easy to set up, so you can access your clients. You can add just domain names which are accepted. Your domain, your client's domain, and everybody else is expected except from that. That I told. There is two things which are too specific on different systems, so I can't exactly show that in a reproducible way, so I'm just mentioning them. First one is WordPress has timed cron jobs, meaning that it's running basically whenever your normal WordPress is running, if you make making a page view, it is also making another request to WordPress saying, do I need to do something in the backend? Very stupid way of using web server to kind of like do things like that. So learn from the hosting providers that you are using how to set up actually WordPress running cron. This is the instruction for I wrote some times ago for Zone, but everybody kind of like their help desk probably can help you, or if you are self-hosting a VPS, then I don't know, you ask ChatGPT or so, or whatever, kind of like go learn something new. Another one is also updating WordPress to cron. Why it is absolutely important is because you should not mix kind of like the code and capability to modify the code. We are very afraid of AI and everything kind of like coming on and ending the world. At least I am. Maybe I can't say we. Maybe you don't care if the word that's. I don't care. I kind of like worked together long time together with Rauha people there in 90s. So I'm kind of like peace fighter also. But WordPress, the same mechanism that allows WordPress to modify its own code, is kind of like the one which is used for different kind of attacks. So in wp-config, you can disable modification of all of the files. This means there is no possibility to upload plugins, no possibility to edit themes or whatever. This is the way to make WordPress safe. There was a question, is WordPress safe? Yes, if you disable stupid things. Which is kind of like there, so kind of like the popularity of WordPress is because of the stupid thing, because everybody can do everything from the web. But it's also absolutely insecure. And then what do you do if you need to kind of like add plugin? You are going to log in SSH key to VP plugin install something. It's installed. You can also add a command like the one shown here into your cron to do the updates. For example, every hour or every day. I know people are telling that, but what if my WordPress breaks? Who cares? What if somebody hacks in? Let's set our priorities right. Because if the site is just going down, it's going to show some kind of error message or white page, and your client is calling and being kind of like unhappy. And now you can very quickly fix it. And client is very satisfied. Wow, you fixed it so quickly. How did you do it? Professional secret sauce. So this disable editing stuff, and for what we don't have time, this is my WordPress deployment template for larger sites. It has all kind of, when you're looking the configurations, you're going to find there specific configurations for all kind of like components of Apache. There are kind of like content security policies, security headers, ton of things. There is also handler for establishing new projects, and so on. And there is also one magic thing which I renamed Begun. It actually was originally Killover, but when I was installing that on an Estonian government entity's website, I thought that if they find out, maybe, I don't know, I get booted from the project because it's not kind of like nice to kill all. But what it does, and you can link is you can just take this Begun plugin and put into your MU plugins folder in your WordPress, whatever WordPress. And it takes away. Previous presentation there talked about things like what it was, how to disable APIs and things and so on. So this one has all of these username enumerations and everything's disabled. So you can slightly modify that, but it does miracles. It is a miracle cure. It also disallows file mods and kind of like all these things I told you. And it has here special dedication to Estonian best penetration testing company clarified security. It is here because they got once into the website that I was managing and they were pen testing. They got the remote code execution, which is kind of like the glory of all of the things. I must say, and they did admin, and I was absolutely sure I'm letting them inside my configured WordPress, and they are not able to get admin, can get remote access from being admin. Yes, they can trash up some web pages and posts and kind of like leave stupid comments and whatever, but they kind of like can't get to the server. They did get it. How did they get it? There was one plugin. I think it was a form plugin. Form plugin offered the option to install SMTP plugin for mail, sending mail. This plugin installation was completely up. When they clicked the button, install this mail plugin, it actually took whatever kind of like the URL was coming from the browser, from user side, fetched the zip file and installs the plugin. So why it was possible? I had disabled everything. Yes, but these guys shipped the plugin together with all of the WordPress installation library. So they had kind of like, they brought their own malware kind of like bad thing. And okay, and here is a fix that completely kind of like screws up WordPress's ability to modify its own files. So it isn't kind of like nice. It will probably throw an error, but who cares if there is one more error when bad guys can't do their bad things. So with that, thank you. I'm sorry I went 3 minutes over time.
That was very entertaining and informative.